We are live.
We are live.
Yes, I'm going to try to add Instagram.
Oh, that's a good call.
Thank you. I learned how to do it, I think.
Did Chelsea teach you?
No, I actually learned it myself. Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
I feel very intelligent.
We'll have to
I
get
think I did it.
Did you? There's
I did it.
6 people watching us already. Say
Oh,
something in
wow.
the chat so we can see y'all.
Yeah. Say something in the chat so we can see y'all.
Let's see. Hello, friends.
Oh, did I? Oh, they did. Maria and Zilla.
Hello.
Okay.
Yeah, from Spain. That sounds fun.
Wow.
Hola.
So it's just going to be Ann, Rose, and I tonight. Our dear friend Jackie is down with a migraine, which I get. But welcome to the Tobias Literary Agency monthly live AMA. There are too many words in the English language to say. It is, what time is it? 7 p.m. 7:02 Eastern tonight. What'd you have for dinner, Ann Rose? Because you ate right before you joined.
I did eat very quickly. I made homemade breakfast sandwiches.
Ooh, I've heard about those.
Breakfast for dinner, so.
Same. I love pancakes and French toast for breakfast.
From Canada. Lunch. Hi, Canada.
Oh, wow, Canada. Jeez, we're getting a lot of people.
International flair here. I love it.
Hello from Canada.
I missed pancakes for dinner. Yes, pancakes are also delicious. I actually got this mix from Trader Joe's. It's called mochi pancake mix. It's supposed to be amazing. Haven't made them yet, but...
Is that the green tea?
No, it's mochi.
What is mochi?
It's kind of like... I want to call it gummy, but I don't think that's the right word to use for it, so...
Gross. Mochi.
It's really delicious. I really love mochi.
Now I have to look up mochi. How do you spell mochi?
Yes, it's delicious. It's M-O-C-H-I.
That's what I thought.
It's delicious as ice cream. Yes, for sure. So, also another Trader Joe's find, since that's obviously important this evening. If it's in your local store, there's this guava spread that I have. Holy moly, that is a game changer.
I love guava.
It is so incredible.
So
Trader Joe's does not sponsor the show. I do not get paid for their endorsements.
That's hilarious. I'm a fan. Because I was just going to pitch someone else's candy company, sourboys.gg, because it's this new candy company I discovered that I found a la Christopher Columbus without the problematic violence and all that
thing.
jazz.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
No artificial dyes like red 40 and yellow 5, because apparently that stuff gives you cancer and turns you into like a werewolf, and I'd prefer not to be either of those.
That's fair.
Yeah, it's by some YouTuber, but it's super duper good. Sourboys.gg. They do a new flavor or 4 new flavors every month, and they had one I think last month that was mango guava. And I was super mad it's all sold out.
Oh, I would be too. That would be my jam. That is my jam. That's my flavor profile right there. Oh, and papaya. Love a papaya.
Ooh, I do love a papaya. All right. Yes. So we should probably actually do some writer stuff.
I mean, well, no one's asking any writerly questions. So obviously they are entertained and enthralled with our conversation about gummies and Trader Joe's. And
we are entertaining. And I looked up mocha. It's like a rice pound.
Rice paste.
It's
delicious. It's good. Maria knows.
Mochi. Rice cake. That's what it is.
It's not like the traditional rice cake that you're thinking of, though, because in America, our rice cakes are these dry, cracker things, and it's not that.
No. Okay.
Special gummies? I don't think they're special gummies.
I was just looking into On that, I don't do whatever, but I was looking into THC gummies because something popped up on my thing called Token, and I was like, that's a weird word for a company. So I looked it up, and it's because it's weed gummies, and they come in like 10 milligram gummies. And I looked up, and the most you're supposed to take per gummy is 2.5 milligrams. And apparently they can last like days.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, okay. I'm old and I am not made for gummies. Not that I would take them anyways, but just, I mean, that sounds like my nightmare.
Very inexperienced in this realm. So,
yeah. That sounds like my nightmare for days. I'm just like, no, I'm done. I want to do it for like 5 minutes and then like move on to something else.
I'd rather just eat gummies. Australia! Hi, it's tomorrow. Jeez. I love it. How are you, Australia?
How's the future?
I know. That's what I always ask my client whenever I talk to her.
That's funny. That's what
Australia. I was like, so how's the future going to be? How's tomorrow looking? Like, should I just stay in bed? Like, what's the plan?
So, I usually ask if the world ends tomorrow.
Oh, well, that's a good call. So,
okay.
It's cold. Yeah, it's cold there right now. It's so weird. I love how it's backward.
Question.
Okay, sorry. Yes, question.
Is there seasonability, I think I'm saying that right, to agenting? Is there a best time of year to submit to agents? I'm curious what you think, Anne, because I know what I think, and I know what I'm going to say is wrong, so I want to hear you say it first.
Well,
yes, thank you.
You're welcome. So this is one of our questions that was sent in ahead of time, right? So we want to preface that, but do please pop your questions into the chat and we will get to them as we're going along. So is there a seasonality to agenting? Is there a best time of year to submit to agents? There is no best time of year to submit to agents. I think the best time of year is when that agent is open to submissions. So as long as they are open, feel free to submit to them. That's pretty much it. Sorry, it's not a fancy answer.
August.
He's lying to you all.
Just yes, so I am lying. Submit whenever you want, whenever your heart desires.
There's really no like best time at all. So it's kind of like we'll get to it when we can get to it. If we're open for it, send it. So that's it.
Yeah. With the rise of generative AI, what changes are you seeing in contracts with publishers that reflect that? And what things have you added to protect your artists? This is a really good question. And one that we have been, fighting knife fights in the streets over. Because how do you define AI? Publishers like to define it as, spell check and word count and that kind of stuff. So they say, oh, well, we need to use AI because of that. But we all know what we mean when we say AI. And, Anne will hopefully back me up on this, that, we try to limit the use of AI, like not for editing, not for the back cover blurb, or for cover.
Or translation, that's another
or
one.
Translation,
or audio.
Yes. Or audio, narrator voice, that's right. But it's honestly a knife fight.
It's a constantly evolving conversation that we're having with houses. So we have been successful in the past for getting protections put in place for our artists and illustrators. And I think we will continue to be successful in that realm. So we are on the artist's side, of course, in all of this. And we want to protect you and your work as best as we can. And we will fight to do that, as Lane has put it in a very well metaphor of knife fight. So
yes. And I have to say, my brother works in AI in that he is trying to train correct history questions because AI, like ChatGPT, is super racist, stupid, and it's a filthy liar. If it doesn't know the answer, it'll make something up, which is why Chicago Tribune got caught with their generative AI best books of summer. It listed made up books by actual authors.
Yeah.
So that's what it does. Never ask it, what's the meaning of life, because it'll just lie to you.
Or just don't ask it anything. That's kind of where I'm at. So
yeah, basically. And I tell people, it's not Skynet, it's Paul Blart. Which, if anyone's seen, it's a funny movie. Question, please. If we already have Big Five editor interests, should we include that in our query?
Yeah. I mean, you can mention it in your query.
I would say it depends what's the interest.
I mean, that is really at the crux of it. But yeah, you can mention it. If you have more specifics, that's always much more useful. So if it's I pitched this thing on Blue Sky and I got interest, just context matters, I think, and the more context you can give, the better it is for you.
And meeting an editor at a conference is not interest. I'm just putting that out there.
Unless they say specifically to send it, but
well, yeah, then it's interest.
Yeah.
There are several agents. Do you want to read these? I don't know why I'm only reading.
You can read them. I'm just sitting back and relaxing over here.
You don't like reading out loud. I forgot that.
I'm not very good at it. We've established that.
Gotcha. There are several agents who are hanging on to my previous MS. I hope this isn't me, but I'll be ready to query my newest one early in August. What's the etiquette here? Do I nudge and let them know my next is ready, or?
That's a great question.
It is a great one, because I'm probably one of those agents if you've deigned to query me.
I might actually be one too. I have some queries in my box that are a little on the old side, but so that's a tricky. Do you want to go with this, Lane? I can answer, but if you want to, I don't want to take it from you.
No, I'll answer because I'm going to look like a-hole, which will make you look better. I would say don't query me with that project. Or now I don't know, because I have the biggest FOMO in the world that I'm like going to miss the next, I don't know, Stephen King or Albert Einstein. But if I already have one of your projects that I'm really interested in, like if I requested it and I get another one, I'll be like, ugh, I need to finish the first one. But if I haven't requested it, shoot it over, because I probably won't even notice.
Okay. I don't think that's the best advice.
That's what I just said. I said, I'll look like an a-hole, so you'll look really good, which is why I want to go first.
Well, I don't think it makes you look like an a-hole either. I think that especially in Query Manager, there's a way to send a message. So I think the best route here would be to message the agent and be like, hey, dear agent, I know that you have title under consideration. So excited to hear your thoughts on that whenever you get a chance. But I'm also going to be going out with X book, one-line pitch, like keep it quick. And I just wanted to give you a heads up on that project in case it could also be something that you might be interested in. I mean, granted, if it is also in line with something that the agent takes. So I think that's going to be the question. Like if it's, you have out a romance and now you're querying a horror, you might not necessarily have tons of crossover. So I think it's going to depend on genre, age group, all the things about the project. So keep that in mind. If you want to give some more specifics, I can maybe direct you a little bit better. But that would be my suggestion. Just kind of reach out to them in the messages, especially if it's been a while. Just, hey, nudging. Just wanted to see where you're at. This is where I'm at, kind of thing.
I'm really bad at giving advice.
No.
Would love to hear about the horror market. About where the horror market is trending right now. What are editors requesting? What's on the decline?
This is definitely a good question for you, Lane.
It is. People
You've come
are
to the right place.
Yes, people are much more open to cosmic horror without the cosmic, if that makes sense. Think The Thing. Um, Body horror, like The Substance. Um, and a lot of it is, oh, I want upmarket psychological horror.
Mhm.
Um, I think creature features are so commercial that a lot of publishers are moving away from creature features, but that's not to say they don't publish creature features. I think Nat Cassidy just did a great, that was a USA Today bestseller. Um, and also, if I told you what specific things editors are requesting, I would not be doing my job because that's proprietary state trade secrets I need to keep for my clients.
I don't think so.
You
I'll
don't
spill
think
some
so?
tea. I think
Oh,
that
spill some tea.
I'll spill some tea. So I think editors are also looking for stories that have maybe a social justice angle that's kind of interweaved in there, that's not didactic in any way. They are not looking for gore for the sake of gore necessarily, unless it's supposed to just be a fun slasher type of thing. If the gore is part of it, it's just supposed to be fun and gory, then go for that. But otherwise, like, there should be a purpose. Um, those are the things that I remember specifically from some recent conversations.
None of that's true.
He's lying to you again.
Okay, you mentioned translation. Who is responsible for contracting translations? Publishers.
Well, it depends. Well,
Oh,
yes, but it also depends on who holds the rights, right? So
yeah.
if we hold the foreign rights, then we sell to foreign publishers, and then the foreign publisher is responsible for doing the translation. If we sell the foreign rights to the publisher, then that publisher will go to the foreign publisher and repeat the process. So,
What Anne said. I was researching. Oh, we'll take that down. Trigger warning. Yeah, ChatGPT, Google, that stuff, they won't let you ask some questions. And some questions you ask will put you on a list.
yeah, I would just highly recommend not using it if you can. So desire, because it really is destroying our planet, and at what cost? Like, so that's my little soapbox that I'm going to get on. So if you can not ask it questions, just use your favorite search engine. There's also some really great search engines out there that aren't the one that starts with a G. So just saying.
I like Bing or DuckDuckGo.
Okay.
What do you use?
I mean, I generally end up using Google a lot, but there are
Oh,
others.
you
I know that there
hypocrite.
are. I know I didn't say don't use it. I just said that there's better ones. There is.
True. True. Clarity on the Big Five interest had a manuscript assessment with an editor from a Big Five, and they
Mhm.
asked for the full because they really enjoyed the first three
Oh,
chapters. Yeah, I'd mention that.
yeah.
Um, these are specifically fulls. I've been told different things. Well, we are the only people you should ever listen to. In that case, give me your social security number, your bank numbers, all that stuff.
So if
Um,
they're fulls, again, I think definitely just go back. Hey, I realize you have a lot on your plate. I'm doing my thing as a writer, right? Like, you're moving on to the next project, which you should do, which I think is fantastic. So I would just hit them up. Hey, just wanted to let you know about this other project. It's blank meets blank, or it's one sentence genre kind of thing. So you kind of explain what it is, and just give them the heads up so they can say, "Oh, I'd love for you to send me a sample of it," or whatever they're going to respond. So just give them a heads up. I think giving the heads up is the best route in that situation.
if writing in a particularly tricky genre, e.g., thriller, etc., how worked out does the mystery twist need to be, knowing it'll go through edits with an agent? Anne is the one to answer this because she has sold quite a number of killer thrillers. Ooh, that rhymes.
I have sold a few. Um, you need to have it pretty worked out. So it's got to get to us, and so you you should have your story pretty well set. We'll have ideas and suggestions probably to enhance a story, but really this is your book, so you should definitely have that hammered out. And in the synopsis, tell us the spoilers and the twist.
All the twists.
Tell
And
us all
will
the
be
twists.
so mad if you don't put the twists in the synopsis.
I read synopsis. I love reading a synopsis.
Yes. I have to start requesting synopsis with the pages because you were smart, and I say that every time, and I never do.
It's really a good tool because then you know exactly where the author is like going with it, what their vision of the project is, how they see it all coming together. I love a good synopsis where it shows you how the dominoes are all lining up, and at the end when you reveal the twist, you're like, oh, you just knocked them all down. I love it. I think it's brilliant. I want to revel in your brilliance.
Unfortunately, some agents have requested both, and I just don't want to be a nag. I've been accused of being a nag, so I mean, just follow your heart.
Hold on. I'm going to give you some other advice here on that one. So I think applying the 3-month rule is always great. Like 3 months, check in, 3 months, check in, 3 months, check in. I think 3 months is a good kind of window. Do know that right now publishing has slowed to the absolute slowest I think it has ever been since I've started agenting. And so it just, when all the cars on the train kind of stop, it stops us from being able to take on some new things. And so that's why things aren't kind of rolling as quickly, obviously, because the cars have stopped. So
Yeah, it's painful. Are agents open to co-agenting with an agent in an author's home country? Oh, and take this one first,
okay.
please.
So I think that yes, but also that agent has the same abilities that we do to send anywhere. So I guess if they're looking for us as the foreign rights, would be my assumption, to sell locally, then that's a conversation to be had. But yeah, I think that that's something that takes place. We work with agents in other countries to sell our projects to those countries. So it would work the same if they wanted to sell theirs here. Or you can just get an agent in the United States if you're looking to sell to the United States. That's always an option.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
When is a good time to share with agents what other book ideas, outlines, and author might be working on, e.g., during the offer signing stage? Ooh, interesting. What about you, Anne Rose?
I usually ask this question as part of the call that I'm having with an author. So I don't necessarily need to know about it at the query stage, but if we are definitely having a conversation about working together, then I will ask you, what are the other kinds of things do you have in the pipeline? What are you working on? What do you know? Where do you see yourself going? What genres do you want to write in? There's a lot of questions that I kind of go through and just try to get a feel for where you're at and where you want to go. So that's probably a good time to have that conversation.
Same on the call. Say, hey, what else are you working on? Because the first book, the book we sign you on, may not even sell. It sucks to say, but c'est la vie. If you have a short story published in a local magazine, can it later be elaborated on? Ooh, I like that. Made into a novel and traditionally published? Yes. What do you think, Anne Rose?
I mean, the simple answer is yes, but the more complex answer would be, what are your rights when you sold that piece to wherever you sold it? So did they take the ability for you to do that? So check your contract and make sure that you didn't sign away rights that you are now also trying to exploit.
Yes. And magazine makes me think the local magazine, because magazine, like articles, they take all the rights. They're vicious monsters about that. But short stories, like in anthologies, I've sold a bunch. You should probably keep all rights to the individual story. But as an anthology, I'm getting into anthologies. No one cares. No one wants to hear me talk about anthologies.
So, Jessica, just check your contract. Make sure that you didn't accidentally give away some rights that you want to try to sell now. But generally speaking, that is a possibility that if you've written a short story, you can expand it to a larger world and sell it to a traditional publication.
Duck, duck, go. That's what I said. That's like a really good search engine, I think. Could you detail how you, Anne Rose, as agents review your queries? It seems it isn't always in order of submissions. Ooh, yeah. Okay, Anne Rose, let's go.
Okay, so it depends, right? So I can speak for myself, but I can also just kind of give you a general rule of thumb, right? So some agents will just go in the order that they're received. Some agents, sometimes when I get into my query box, like I try to jump on my query box in the mornings when I'm on my elliptical machine. So I just open it up and then like whatever's first shows up is kind of what I look at. So that's kind of how I go. So I kind of go top down instead of bottom up sometimes. So that's I generally try to get through most of the new ones that I'm going to be looking through that day. So I kind of set myself a goal. So that's kind of how I do it. But also, if I'm in a mood, like I really am looking to find some fantasy things right now. I can filter to just look at fantasy submissions and go through those. So yeah, it's not always so clear cut. And sometimes, like when you switch from page to page in the query box, like one will get 1 or 2 or 3, I've had it, like get sucked to a different page, and so you kind of miss them. And so like 5 weeks later, you're like, how do I still have these unread things in here? And then you go and find them and you're like, oh, somehow you skipped over them and you didn't even know that you skipped over them. So
It's a wonder I have any clients. I'm awful because I just hop around. That's so funny that you go in order because I'm just like, oh, I'm in the mood for horror today. Let me look at my horror stuff. Oh, I'm in the mood for science stuff. Oh, look at my science stuff. There is no rhyme or reason to how I don't go in order.
I attempt to go in order. It's the intention. It doesn't always happen that way, but that's the intention.
I don't believe in going in order. I think it's unethical and immoral.
I think it's neither of those things. I think that authors, they send something in, so they're waiting in line, and so you just take them one at a time.
No, I agree, but I'm just really bad. 2 agents critiqued my multi-point of view, multi-timeline query. One said to include plot points up to the final climax. The other said not to mention plots that don't appear in the opening pages. Thoughts? Ooh, Anne Rose, we're about to throw down. Let's hear your thoughts.
Well, I guess one of them is suggesting that you write a synopsis, and one of them is suggesting that you write a query letter. And these are 2 different things. So a query letter needs to tell us 4 things. Who's your main character? What do they want? What are their goals? What stands in the way? What are the obstacles? What happens if they fail? What are the stakes? That's what we need to know in the query letter. That is all we need to know in the query letter. So multi-point of view does make it a little bit tricky because you obviously have more than one protagonist. So sometimes in romance, a lot of times if it's dual point of view, we'll get both characters, both points of view in the query letter, which is fine. But you still have to keep it condensed. Like it should not be more than that section shouldn't be more than like 400 words of the who, what, where, when, why kind of thing. So think of it that way. But no, you should not be telling us the climax in the query letter. That's not, you should tell us what's at stake if they don't get what they want, but you should not be telling us the climax.
Yes. I think in the query, it's like the bare bones of the story. You're just pitching us the hook. What's the core of your book? I don't need to repeat anything because Anne said it so succinctly and much better than I ever could.
I think that's interesting that it was an agent that suggested giving all the information. Like, I don't know. So agents can be wrong. So
yes. Will anyone from Tobias be participating in the upcoming pitch events remaining this summer? I know we don't love the amount of them recently. Quest Pit, Wicked Pit, Queer Pit. I may do Queer Pit, but I mean, like, Quest Pit, is that like just for adventure novels?
Okay, I do all of them if I know about them. So if I'm on socials and I see there's a pick contest or whatever they're called, I don't know why they're called a contest, an event, a pitch event. If there's a pitch event online, then I'm usually throwing my hat in the ring and going through like obsessively all of the hashtags. I know I always miss some. So that's why I just say, query me if you think that we're a great match. But I do try to get to all of them, and I am 1,000% going to be doing Queer Pit. I don't know what Wicked Pit is, but that
I was
sounds
just gonna,
super fun. I don't
just gonna
know.
say, what's Wicked Pit?
And Quest Pit, I think I've done that one before, and if I know the date and I happen to be around, I'll definitely scroll through and be liking things for sure. Yeah,
What's
I
Quest
love
Pit?
them. I don't know what it is, but
You said you just did Quest Pit.
I know that I've done it. It doesn't mean that I remember what it is.
Okay, I got you. When looking at PM Publishers Marketplace, Tobias is #1 in fiction horror. What does this mean? Ooh, it means we sell
You're
the
just
most
blowing up
horror.
his ego, Jessica.
We are the #1 top-selling agency for horror. Out of all the agencies, we sell the most horror, which means all you horror authors should be represented by me. All the greats should be represented by me. Otherwise, what are you doing with your life?
You just blew up his ego, Jessica. So
thank you very much. You win the night, Jessica. You are the winner. I just spit out my lemonade. Follow your heart. I tell everyone that about everything. When I'm at the grocery store, I always hate when they ask paper or plastic. Because I'm like, I don't know, just follow your heart. And then they all laugh, and I'm just, it's become such a like routine that I'm like, I started bringing my own bags actually, just for that reason. Between drafts that clients send you, is there an expected turnaround time that you like to see as an agent? Do you suggest crypt partners go over it first, or do you prefer it sent just to you?
I think it's helpful to have critique partners before you send something our way. I just think that it's better to be as polished as you can. If there's little mistakes and things that you can address before it gets to us, that makes it really helpful, because we only have so many reads in it before we become unobjective anymore. Like, we get to know the story so well, like you, we lose the forest through the trees. And so we want to be able to have that so we can be the best development editor that you can have before we go out on submission.
I have an awful answer. Follow your heart, whatever floats your boat. I don't care. Like, whatever. In our query bio, should we also include if we're being mentored by a reputable author in our genre? Also, thank you both so much. This is such an incredibly illuminating session. Ooh.
They were here for the guava talk, I'm sure.
Yeah. I'm still mad about the mango guava. Sour Boys GG. Please send me some mango guava.
Make it happen, guys.
But yes, mention your reputable author mentor. Mentee? Mentor.
Yeah, mention it. Doesn't hurt.
Unless it's like, the persona non gratas. Is that?
I don't even know what that means.
It's like the person who's not, I don't know. I'm mixing up two things, I think. At which stage do you know when you're ready to make an offer to an author? Are you still sussing? Ooh, I love that word, sussing them out when you have the call? Oh, absolutely. That's the whole point of the call, to make sure, I'm not talking to, I don't know, AI or someone who's going to show up at my house tomorrow. But keep in mind, it's also an interview for you. You're interviewing us, because for all you know, you're going to hate talking to me.
It's a two-way street for sure. I do a lot of my sussing before I ask for pages. I'll just be upfront about that. So I do a lot of sussing out before I even ask for pages. And so when we have the conversation, yeah, it's really about, do I think we're going to work well together? And do we communicate well? Do our visions align on the project? Those kinds of things, because it's just as important to you to have someone who champions your story the way you see fit. So
Yeah, there was last year, I think it was last year, there was a big streak where every person I spoke to went elsewhere, and I was like, is there something wrong with me? Like, am I the crazy person here? Because I shouldn't say crazy. I apologize. That's inaccurate and offensive. But I thought definitely there must have been some red flags from me. But I think, it's just things go in circles,
cycles?
cycles. Yes. Sorry, the agent didn't want me to include the climax. She wanted to see how the four timelines work together to lead to the climax.
Ah, okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, it's tricky because you have so many things going on. So you're going to have to really streamline what's important in the plot and how to get us the information to. The query's just about getting us to want to read the book. So don't think that you have to give us all four points of view, all four timelines to get us to want to read the book. It's your sales tactic, right? So what is the thing? What is maybe one or two of the most compelling of those four timelines that's going to be like, okay, yeah, what's going on here? What's happening? And then in your synopsis is where you're going to give us a lot more information on how the story and the plot unfold. So I know this one's tricky because you have a tricky story, but don't overthink it.
I disagree. I think you should absolutely overthink it.
You're terrible.
I know. All right. Next question. Will either of you be participating in DV Pit? Yes. I thought, did they change the rules so you have to like apply and do it, or am I
No.
just totally making that up?
They had a Discord last year. I'm actually still on their Discord channel,
Ooh.
but they have a Discord that they tried to do it last year. It was really confusing. The feed kept refreshing. It was really hard to look at projects, find projects, like projects. So I think they're moving back to, I think they're moving to Blue Sky. I think I could probably pull it up and look, or Jay, you probably know more than I do about it at this moment, but I'm still on their server and I do know that it is coming up.
Okay.
So it is let's see, October 8th on, yeah, it looks like it's returning and on Blue Sky. Yeah, so we're on Blue Sky. So I'm on Blue Sky. I'll be there.
Me too. I think I found, connected with Diana Rodriguez Wallach in not DV Pit. I think Pitch Mad, was that the one?
There's a whole bunch of them. I've signed clients from pitch events. So
yeah, same here. Haha, congrats. What does it mean when an agent has less than 10 deals on PM? They are new, they quit, they don't announce their deals. I think people have started years ago, maybe not years ago, yeah, a couple of years ago, someone told me that they stopped announcing their deals on PM because people would poach clients.
oh.
Yeah, so I've noticed, I think people post less and less. And I mean, I've been sitting on like 4 deals that haven't been announced.
I was just thinking, I have at least 5 that have not been announced yet.
Yeah, and these were deals that were like, oh, that deal's been done like a year ago. So
Yeah.
I mean, PM isn't the be all of info on agents.
No, but I think it does give a little bit of information. And so,
Yes.
I mean, less than 10 deals, probably they're newer. That's true. You look at the date on when the last deal was made. So that's how you would know if they're not maybe agenting anymore. So if it says the last deal sold was 2021, they probably aren't agenting anymore. So that would be a good thing to look at. But sometimes our deals don't get announced, or we hold on to announcing them for a while for, marketing reasons or whatever. So like Lane said, it's not the end all be all, but it does give you a good kind of view of what they're doing and who they're selling to. I think that if they do have less than 10 deals, again, that's fine. There's new agents that happen. You want to be, if you're with a new agent, you just want to make sure that they are not with a new agency. You want them to be with an agency that has been established for a really long time, or vice versa. Like they are an old agent, but they just started their own agency, because there's a couple agencies that have just opened up lately from really well established agents. So you just want those scales. You don't want those scales to be even keeled. You don't want a brand new agent at a brand new agency. That's not always the greatest scenario.
Yes. Are either both of you actively looking for new clients this year, or is it more of something sparks their interest you might jump on it? I think agents are always actively looking for clients, even if it's just through referral, because that's the nature of the business.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking for more. I've signed 2 this year, maybe. I I feel like all the years are blending together in my mind, so I have to apologize for not knowing exactly how many, but I would love to sign some more before the year ends.
Yeah, always looking for new clients. How do you guys find out about these social media pitch events? I'm assuming they are all on X. We find them out through you or through social media, which is why I saw Quest Pit and Wicked Pit and was like, what the hell are those?
I am not on Twitter anymore. I am on Blue Sky, and so I think a lot of events have migrated over to Blue Sky. So I generally try to like check in on my Blue Sky like once a day. So if I'm on there and I see like someone posted with a hashtag, I was like, oh, there's a pitch event today. And that's generally how I find out about them.
Same. I'm on Blue Sky and Instagram, TikTok. I'm still kind of on Twitter, but I hate Twitter and I hate who owns Twitter. So
I'm also on Insta and I have a TikTok account, but I just am not on there as much. So, well, actually, I've been trying to do better on Instagram, but there's not a lot of pitch contests on Instagram.
sussing out as in social media stalking checks. Yeah. Amazing. Thank you so much. You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Yes, Blue Sky. DV Pit on Blue Sky. Yes. Have you not announced your deals because you're still in contract negotiations, or is that another reason? Usually it's another reason.
Yeah. I have a couple that we've already gone through contracts, but we just haven't announced them yet for various reasons.
Some editors like to wait until there's a manuscript. I have one who likes to wait until the final title is finalized.
Yeah, that makes
Which,
sense.
everyone has their own preferences. Where would you recommend
Would
be the
be the
best?
best way to look up an agent to see if they have a good track record. I mean, Publishers Marketplace is a great place to look for sure. That is where most deals are announced. But I mean, definitely verify their agency online. There's Writers Beware. Victoria Strauss does an excellent website on all different kinds of things to look out for with agents, agencies, publishing houses, etc. So
Yeah, my great answer was Writer Beware, and you took it from me. So that's
sorry.
why I cursed you. Do you feel like romantasy is at its moment and is too saturated, or are other genres like dystopian branching out to become romantasy, like Silver Elite? I'm gonna spill the beans, and everyone I've spoken to who sells and buys romantasy doesn't like it and wishes it would go away. I'm not naming names, but I'm just saying the people who are selling and buying, agents and editors who buy romantasy, I'm just spilling the beans.
Well, there might be some of those. But I do hear that. So this is such an interesting question because I'm in a lot of reader groups on different social platforms, And the consensus among readers that I've noticed is, I am so tired of romantasy. What else do you guys have? And that's what they're asking. So I think that there's still going to be some that are coming out, obviously, because books are bought years in advance. But I do think that we're going to see a slowdown because for the reasons that you've stated, that readers are getting tired. Also, just yeah, it's just like any trend, it kind of comes and goes. I do think you bring up dystopian, that there is an interest in dystopian again, but it has to be really unique. So something to think about. But yeah, everything's in waves.
Is Silver Elite dystopian?
I have not read it, but I assume
No, I don't
so
know.
based on this question.
Question. As a male author drafting a romance novel, would you recommend a pen name? Anne, I'm gonna let you handle this one.
No, I don't. I think you should be authentically you.
I think you probably shouldn't be writing a romance novel.
I think it's fine to be writing a romance novel. Just maybe make sure you're being authentic to yourself in your romance novel, like any other book.
Yes, I agree with that soft-spoken response. You mentioned things are slow right now. What do you think is a good request rate for those currently querying? And I'm catching it now.
I know I'm rubbing off on you.
Yeah. I have no idea because I'm not an author. Anne's an author, a fantastic author with a new book, A Excellent Chance to Fall in
Thanks.
Love, coming out in October. So
September,
I'm a liar.
okay.
She has a better idea of what is a good request weight. I sound like
Daffy Duck.
Yeah, I was about to say I sound like Daffy Duck. Because you had to query to get your agent, I assume.
I did. I had to query just like everybody else did to get my agent. So I did it a little differently because I am an agent when I was querying. So I kept it very slow. I only sent out a couple at a time. But that's neither here nor there. It was a little while ago. I think generally speaking, if you're sending out your query and all you are getting are reform responses, something is not working with your query and or first pages. So I would look at that. So if you're not at like out of 10, if you don't even get one request, I think you probably want to look and just make sure that you are submitting materials that like really grab an agent's attention and make them want to read. So double check that. If you are getting requests and then you're getting rejections after they have requested pages, then obviously something's not working, right? But it's generally in that murky middle. So something in the middle of the book really isn't connecting. So that's like generalized over about querying requests rates. So
I think Murky Middle was supposed to be the name of one of our shows, and I think you made it. You came up with that name too.
I mean, I did not come up with it. It is not. That's just what it's called.
I have never heard that phrase except from you.
Okay.
I am trademarking it in your honor.
Thank you.
Are there any projects that you've rejected but still think about whether or not you regret your decision? 2. One is by Maxim, I think it's Martin now, who started Romantasy. I was just like, I don't have the time to get to this. It's going to be a 6-figure deal. I'm going to kick myself. And then it was like an 18-figure deal. And I've been kicking myself ever since. And
oh, go ahead.
Oh, then The Continent.
Oh.
That I'm very glad I passed on because I saw that coming 10 miles down the road.
That's fair. I recently had to pass on something because I just could not finish it before the deadline. And I'm upset that life happened, came, go, and I just didn't have time to finish it because I think it's a fantastic book and I think this author is really incredible. So really sad I had to pass on that project. I probably will be kicking myself later for not being able to finish it, but it was the right call because I just didn't have the bandwidth to complete the novel and the time that it deserved. So, but otherwise, I do ironically think of projects that I've passed on sometimes. I'll just be sitting there and be like, and like a plot point will come into my head. I'll be like, I wonder whatever happened to that. I don't know.
I actually now represent maybe one or two authors that who I couldn't get out of my head. I kept thinking back to the submission, and I'd go back and I'm like, oh, this is still available. Shit. I was like, let's work together. Yeah, I'm awful with my inbox. I know. Ian's
I
very
didn't say
judgy.
anything. I'm.
What are your thoughts on authors writing across genres and age groups? Would you prefer they stick with one genre age group first and they share their goals from the start? I believe it's unethical. It's wrong, and I don't stand for it. No, that's not true. I think it's fine.
You give the worst sound bites. Like if someone was to take this video and like cut it up, you would look so terrible.
No one do that. No one do that. Why is this being recorded? No one do that. No, I have lots of clients who do that. And it used to be the way that you start one place, then go somewhere else. But nowadays, everything's a mashup. People want mashed up genres.
Yeah, also I think it's good for like diversibility. So like sometimes you're contracted for a book, but it doesn't come out for another year. And so you want to sell something else in so you can kind of start stacking and staggering some of your projects so they can come out and you can make money. So yeah, I have clients that write across age groups, genres, all sorts of things. I love it. I'm here for it. I encourage it if they want to do it. I believe in my authors and support them 100%. And we always have that. Again, we have that conversation generally on the call. Like, what are you thinking about? What are the things you want to do? So even though like I don't take picture book queries, I have a couple picture books on submission right now because I have clients who really wanted to write some picture books. So you never know.
Yes. Do agents typically look at your whole portfolio, consider that when taking a client on? Oh, interesting. And
okay, if you mean portfolio in the sense of like you're an artist and do we look at an artist's portfolio, then yes, we definitely do. I think that also if we're talking about writing, I don't read every single project an author has before I decide to work with them. Generally, I work with them because I've read something that I loved of theirs, and we kind of talk about, what other things they want to write and stories and et cetera, et cetera. So, so yes and no.
same.
Okay.
Nick Roberts. Oh, that's funny. Nick Roberts. He's the one who I couldn't get out of my head, and I checked in. I was like, "Hey, man, I'm a bad person. I forgot about this. Let's work together."
Do you have a stream
account? I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, thank you for reposting Nick Roberts. Nick Roberts is incredible author. He's amazing. And his book, Layla, that we just sold to Jason Pinter, who's a mensch, it's going to be incredible. Excellent. What's the fastest way to get your attention with a query package beyond the typical 101 level, knowing how to write all the parts? Money, cookies, sourboys.gg. No. I don't know. And Rose?
Have an amazing concept. Know your hook. Know what you are trying to sell. Because at the end of the day, it is a product that you are trying to sell. So just know what you have. I think that's the best and fastest way to get our attention. It's just a really strong query letter with a really strong hook.
Yes, I agree. Writing.
Okay. Well, Jessica, so if it's like picture books, I think that I don't take on picture book authors. So and Kelly, unfortunately, is not here to speak to this, or neither is Jackie. Do generally think that when agents look to rep picture books, they do ask for a couple of different projects to kind of get an idea of like the writing style and everything of a picture book author. But they might not necessarily look at every single one of your projects. And for novels, I have a client who has probably already written 15, 20 novels in their lifetime. And no, I did not read all of those before I decided that I wanted to work with this person. So there you go.
I've seen worry among authors that agents only want projects that are instantly sub-ready. Ooh, I like that, sub-ready. Is this dependent on agent style, or are more agents only wanting projects that need minimal edits?
Do you want me to answer this, Lane?
Yes, please.
Okay. So I think it's going to vary on a couple of factors. So a lot of it has to do with our bandwidth. I know that I'm happy to take on a project that I believe in, even if I know that it needs work. That's okay with me. And I'm happy to do that ahead of time. So if it has a stellar concept, amazing voice, and I feel like the author can pull off the edits to make it what it needs to be, we're on, right? Sometimes that'll come in the form of an R&R. Sometimes it will just be like, you know what, let's just make this happen. So it kind of just varies from there. But I do think that because agents do not get paid unless we can sell a project, we do have to be very mindful of what we are spending our time on. And as we build our lists and grow them, we have a lot of clients that we have to attend to on a daily basis and their needs. So we just have to be really mindful of that. I do know that newer agents have a lot more bandwidth, and so they are always usually more willing to take things on that need a little extra work. But I wouldn't say that all agents aren't willing to do that. So it just depends on the agent. Lane?
Co-signing 100%. How important is a potential author marketability to you?
The author?
The author, I mean, unless it's nonfiction, not at all.
Yeah.
Like, Harper Lee was a recluse.
Well, I don't think you can use that this day and age.
But I mean,
but Silver Elite was brought up, and that is a really good point. So Silver Elite is written by an author that nobody knows who it is. So obviously, you don't need to have a platform in order to be able to sell a book. So
you just need lots of money for marketing.
well, so yeah, it's not so much, unless you're selling nonfiction, it's not so much about the author's marketability as it is the product's marketability.
Yes. What is the percentage of clients you have taken on that you haven't been able to sell their manuscripts, or they get stuck in part of the process, like in marketing? 96%? No, I'm kidding. I have no idea. That would be a lot of math that I can't math.
Yeah, I'm not a big math girl either here, but for me, if it's a project doesn't sell, we've already are working on the next project and we're already looking to sell that. So we just keep going. So we're gonna make it. We're gonna find it. I don't think anyone gets stuck in marketing, because if it gets sold, then that's the marketing department's job at the publishing house to market the book. So they don't really get stuck in it, unless you just mean like they haven't written anything because they're too busy out there with their first book. But I mean, you as an author, you still have to write the next thing. So.
For Anne, you did an AMA in Baguette?
I did.
What's Baguette? Like the bread?
It's a Discord channel, yeah.
About bread?
I don't know why it's called that, but that's what it's called, yeah.
Group a while ago, and it was so incredibly helpful. Thank you. Yay. How long ago was this, Anne Rose?
I don't know how long ago it was. I'm happy to come back and do it again. You just let him know, and I will be happy to be. I think it's actually still in my list of Discord channels over here. So yeah, happy to join in anytime and answer questions. So
you're part of so many Discord and WhatsApp, and I'm in like one secret group, and you're in like 30.
I try to keep a pulse on what is happening in this industry, Lane. Someone has to.
Apparently. For things like school visits, I know some authors have separate booking agents for events like that? Do literary agents work with those agents, and where do authors go about finding booking agencies? I don't think you're going to get a booking agent for schools unless you're like a nonfiction person who's doing high up
Nope.
schools. And I'm totally wrong. I'm
You're
going to be
wrong,
quiet.
Elaine. Generally, we do not work with the booking agent for an author. An author just works directly with their booking agent. So there's not a lot of overlap in that situation. So bouncing off. Okay, writers aren't hiring editors before the query. I don't think you have to hire an editor before you query. So if you have a great critique group or great critique partners, they should be more than enough. But I mean, it definitely should have more eyes on it before you send it, but you don't necessarily have to pay and hire an editor before you query someone.
We really like bread. It started with RevPit. Ha ha ha.
I love bread.
Anne does love bread.
I do.
If you could host a class for a querying intensive workshop, what would your class be?
I mean, I do host a query workshop. I am going to host one at the SCBWI conference in October in Denver, and it is called Quelling Your Query Conundrums.
I already copyrighted that. It's my TV show. You don't get it.
So,
do you ever become more interested in a book when an author creates mood? I personally fucking hate them because it's just stuff I stare at and it just irks me. Don't ask me why.
I secretly love them.
I know. I'm just an old curmudgeon. I don't like anything or anyone.
I don't think authors need to make these, but I do have to say I am swayed by a really good mood board. I'm like, but what if? So I feel like there's a place.
On that note, we've gone over an hour by 1 minute, so these folks owe me a minute of my life.
No, they've been fantastic. You've been an amazing group tonight. Oh my gosh, come back every week. We love you. I love you. I don't know about Lane, but I love you.
I didn't have to go through our made-up questions once, which I think is fantastic.
So this has been a fantastic group. You guys are amazing. You all get a virtual cookie because I can't send you cookies. So virtual cookies for everyone. Make sure you do something nice for yourself today for sure, because you guys have been great. This has been a great conversation.
And sourboys.gg, send me some mango guava.
Yeah, there you go. Mango guava does sound amazing. So again,